Why is the modern hotelier perpetually hunting for strangers while neglecting the gold mine of their own history? Why have you outsourced your hotel's destiny to the open market, leaving your inventory to be picked like a commodity, like grocery on an e commerce platform, rather than selected as an experience? Why have you never considered the timeshare model, where it's not just about property, but it's about guaranteed loyalty? A business model where guests or members pay thousands of dollars in advance to a concept product, even before experiencing it. And then, just after the experience, and at times even before experiencing it, they upgrade the product type by paying a couple of thousands more. Who stopped you when you already have the resources? Why haven't you built a closed loop ecosystem where a guest stays with you not because of a price match, but because of a shared memories? Why do we surrender our brand identity to OTA aggregators, behaving like a local grocery fold into an e commerce giant, rather than acting as a curated destination? If you aren't calling your past guests to invite them back to a community they belong to, you aren't running a hospitality brand, you are managing a transaction. Why are you celebrating a 90% occupancy rate if 40% of that margin was sacrificed to a platform that doesn't even know your customer's name? Are you selling a bed, an asset that depreciates, or you are selling an experience or an access to a lifestyle, a value that appreciates? Why have you allowed third party channels to own the data of the person sleeping under your roof? Who truly owns the guest and his experience? The person who processed the credit card or the person who fluffed the pillow? If your hotel name were removed from the website, would a guest find any reason to stay there other than the price filter? If the answer is no, you don't have a brand. You are just a listing. It is time to stop waiting for the market to choose you and start building a relationship that makes choice irrelevant. Let me begin with a statement that sounds provocative, but it's mathematically and operationally true. Most hotels that claim they have a demand problem are misdiagnosing a design failure. If your hotel requires consistently high occupancy to remain financially healthy, your revenue system is structurally weak. It is not resilient, it is not intelligent, and it will fail the moment demand softens. That is why the entire hospitality industry is now season and festive driven. This is not an opinion. This is a consequence of how constrained inventory businesses behave when pricing, inventory, and behavior are poorly controlled. Revenue management in its serious form is not a department, a dashboard, or a software license. It is a discipline of designing economic behavior under scarcity. Hotels that understand this survive downturns. So, if your hotel rooms are full and you are still struggling with profit, the problem is not demand. The problem is how your revenue system is designed. Most hotels obsess over occupancy, discounts, and online travel agents. That thinking keeps hotels busy but not profitable. Over the course of 15 years as a leader in Indian hospitality industry, leading millions of dollars of revenue and designing entire customer journey with stay experiences, I have seen hotels with 60% occupancy making more money than hotels running at 90% occupancy. That is not luck, that is intelligent revenue design. In this video, I am not going to teach you basic RevPAR or revenue per available room formulas or textbook theories. That useless, old, repetitive content is already everywhere on the internet and that does not work. I will show you how profitable hotels across the world actually make real money. Beyond room bookings, beyond discounts, beyond marketing noise, you will see how pricing decisions, inventory control, staff behavior, channel strategy, and guest psychology quietly decide whether your hotel grows or bleeds. If you own a hotel, manage a resort, or advise hospitality businesses, this video will make you uncomfortable. And that discomfort is where the actual profit hides. Watch carefully, most hotels never fix this. Let us dismantle one of the most demanding illusions in hospitality. Remember, occupancy is a volume metric. It is just an activity and not real success, while profit is a quality metric. High occupancy with poor price control is equivalent to running a factory at full capacity while selling output below cost. This happens because hotels confuse activity with outcome. A hotel running at 90% occupancy with weak pricing, poor channel mix, uncontrolled upgrades or leakages without checking contribution margin, and low ancillary spend is often less profitable than a hotel running at 60% occupancy with disciplined revenue control. When the leadership team or hotel owners celebrate rooms sold without interrogating the quality of each sale, they reward managers for filling inventory rather than monetizing scarcity. In capital intensive businesses, volume without control accelerates failure. Airlines learned this decades ago. Hotels, by and large, have not. The correct question is never, did we sell the room? But the correct question is, should this guest at this price, through this channel, on this night, have been allowed to buy this room at all? In simple words, were rooms sold to the right guest at the right price, through the right channel, for the right length of stay or not? Have you ever thought what is the biggest myth in hospitality? I tell you, it is that rooms are not the business. To understand revenue properly, we must first understand what a hotel actually sells. You need to accept that a hotel does not sell rooms. A hotel sells access. Rooms are just demand capture infrastructure. Rooms exist to bring people into a controlled spending environment. Rooms are not the product. Rooms are the gate. They are the mechanism through which a guest enters an economic environment that you control. The real revenue is generated through layers. Inside that environment sit multiple revenue tiers or components, each governed by different behavioral rules, such as room revenue that establishes the anchor, food and beverages that monetizes presence, events and banquets that monetizes scale, experiences and services that monetizes emotion and memory, distribution economics that monetizes reach and data, and behavioral upsells that monetizes time and psychology. Hotels that treat rooms as a product view them as a commodity, leading to price wars. Guests are highly price sensitive and primarily choose a hotel based on the lowest price available. The rise of online travel agencies or OTAs and meta search engine facilitates easy price comparisons, intensifying this focus on price over value. Hotels adopting these mindsets are forced into competitive pricing strategies, often leading to a race to the bottom in the effect of undercut rivals. This reduces profit margins across the industry and can harm long term profitability. The main goal is often to fill as many rooms as possible, even it means significantly dropping rates rather than optimizing the profit per room. These hotels generally fail to emphasize their unique value, service standards, or experiences, making price the only major differentiation. On the other hand, hotels that treat rooms as traffic control use dynamic pricing and value added services to gain pricing freedom and maximize revenue. This approach views a hotel room as a perishable service and a valuable asset that can be strategically managed to drive demand and optimize revenue. It emphasizes dynamic value based pricing rather than fixed prices. Rates are adjusted in real time based on multiple factors, including market demand, seasonality, competitor prices, booking pace, and local events. This is similar to how airlines price seats. The focus is on the perceived value of the stay, for example, location, views, amenities, service quality, and brand reputation. This allows the hotel to charge higher rates when the perceived value is also high. Hotels segment their customers and tailor offers to different guest types, example corporate guests, leisure travelers, and families who have different needs and willingness to pay. Advanced analytics and AI driven softwares are used to process data and recommend or apply optimal pricing, maximizing revenue by balancing occupancy and average daily rate or ADR. By effectively managing demand and demonstrating value, these hotels gain pricing freedom and are less vulnerable to aggressive price competition. They can raise prices during peak demand periods without fear of losing all business to competitors. This is why two hotels with identical locations, similar assets, and similar occupancy can produce radically different financial outcomes. One is just selling space, the other is selling access to a system. Please remember, ADR or average daily revenue is a lazy reporting metric. It is not a decision metric. ADR is a reporting artifact. It is not a decision framework. Average prices conceal extremes. They hide underpricing. They reward complacency. The truth is, pricing is not about filling rooms. Pricing is about controlling regret. We need to understand that every hotel has limited inventory per night. Every hotel night is a perishable asset with a fixed expiry. Once midnight passes, unsold inventory becomes zero value. The objective is not to maximize sold rooms, but the objective is to minimize underpriced rooms. This requires control over four levels. First, timing. Early bookings should reward certainty, not price sensitivity. Second, length of stay. One night stays on peak demand nights destroy multi night revenue. Third, compression. When demand exceeds supply, price must signal scarcity, not generosity. And fourth, the last room principle. The last room available should always be the most expensive room, not the cheapest. Most hotels violate all four principles simultaneously, then blame the market when margins collapse. Room revenue beyond ADR or average daily rate means boosting income from all guest spending, not just room price. By focusing on key metrics like revenue per available room, which is RevPAR for room efficiency, and net revenue per available room for net revenue after distribution cost, that gives a clearer picture of channel profitability, and total revenue per available room, which is TRevPAR for overall property earnings, hotels can achieve more money through upselling, cross-selling, reference selling, packaging, F&B, spas, and optimized ancillary services like parking or events. It's about creating holistic guest value using metrics like gross operating profit per available room, which is called GOPPAR, to measure profitability and improving the guest experience to drive spending across all departments. Most revenue damage happens at the front desk, not in software. In fact, inventory mismanagement is the most underestimated profit killer in hospitality. Also, remember, room types are not physical categories, they are pricing instruments. A room with a view, a higher floor, better light, or better silence is not the same product. Yet, hotels give these differences away casually. Hotels need to understand that late checkouts are time inventory, and similarly, early check ins are also time inventory. Booking rooms or holdbacks destroys sellable combinations. In fact, inventory mismanagement does not look dramatic, it looks polite, and politeness can be expensive. Inventory is not always the perishable room inventory or unsold rooms, but also accounts for perishable physical goods like linens, toiletries, and F&B, often overlooking ancillary services items like chargers and amenities like gift shop items and etc. The overlooked area is often virtual inventory like upgrade and downgrades and the complex mix of room types like suites and standard, leading to lost revenue or overstocking due to poor forecasting. Despite advanced revenue management tools, as I said before, most hotels often ignore the inventory control of ancillary or auxiliary items like guest takeaway packaging, which include cutlery, containers, bags, and sachets, leading to guest dissatisfaction and extra cost, plus failing to rigorously track discarded goods, even if given to staff, or integrating inventory data with purchasing for real time financial control, resulting in overstocking, theft, and lost revenue. Have you ever thought why hotels feel profitable while bleeding? I tell you, because hotels often mistake a higher bill for higher profit. This is where hotels lie to themselves. Packages feel profitable because the bill looks larger, but bundled revenue often hides margin erosion. Free breakfast is rarely free. Airport transfers are rarely neutral. Complimentary upgrades train guests to wait, not pay. Revenue that increases volume but reduces contribution margin is not growth. All this is disguised loss. The discipline is simple but painful. If a component cannot be priced independently, it should not be bundled. Profit does not come from generosity, it comes from precision. In the hotel industry, cost disguised as revenue often means hidden charges, inflated service fees like resort fees, Wi Fi, parking, etc., adding to room bills, or bundling operational expenses like utilities, labor into the room rate without transparency, making the base price looks lower but increasing the final cost, essentially shifting experiences into the customer's perception of a deal or service charge rather than a direct cost, or recognizing ancillary income as core room revenue. This practice focuses on boosting total revenue figures through add ons and opaque pricing, hiding true operational cost in plain sight. Let me close this session with a reality that many operators resist. Most hotels do not have a revenue problem, they have a decision problem. Every underpriced room, every unnecessary upgrade, every poorly structured package does not come under accidents. They are systems uncontrolled, behaving exactly as designed. In our next video, we will dismantle pricing systems, distribution channels, and contracts that quietly drain profit, even in busy hotels. Subscribe to get notified for the second video in continuation. This series is everything that can make your hotel and resort holistically profitable. If you miss the next part, you continue being comfortable in your current condition bubble, while the other hotel will double itself in profits. Have a great day ahead.